hey, this might not have been, this retail person we put in is not performing the way we planned. Do you guys, is that a ripple effect? How do you guys prepare for that kind of situation?
So the question is, in a mixed-use project, if one element underperforms, how do you prepare for that?
And how does it affect the other?
Yeah, I mean, from an underwriting perspective, that is a very difficult question. I think, you know, and to be clear, we haven't developed a lot of mixed-use projects. We're buying into them, but we haven't developed them. Legacy Park is going to be one of our first truly mixed-use projects. And I think on the development side, we're working with people who know those asset types. You know, I mean, how many property managers do we have in this room? Just show of hands. All right. So every property manager knows their asset class. Like if you are a residential manager, you understand your resident. You understand what it takes to get those leases done, those renewals done, right? If you're an industrial manager, you know exactly what you are and are not supposed to do, right? You know your leases backwards and forwards. And I think on the development side of things, it's planning for those things as well. It's understanding that, okay, this is the type of user, this is the ideal user we're going to bring into this project, and this is where we see and project success, and it's developing those in unison together. You know, certainly there's going to be downturns, and I think any mixed-use project with an office component in the last 5 years has probably not been in a great situation. You know, and so the project as a whole is gonna suffer when one is not performing as well. And I'm not sure if there's a lot that you can hedge to protect against that. I think Sean made a great point. The mixed-use project itself is a hedge against the downturn. You know, if one asset type suffers, the rest of it can lift it up. And if you have one client that owns it all, that's why the capital markets are shifting that way. We were talking, you know, Brian brought up Piedmont. It's part of the Novus Innovation Corridor by ASU. That's an interesting project because there's one developer, but many owners, many owners. And so it's a little difficult because there's different goals for every owner, right? And so the owner of the apartment complex might not have the same goal as, say, our retail owners. And so it's navigating that, and the best property managers know that you have to be nimble and you have to understand your client's goals and objectives, and making sure that you're working with the association that is your mixed-use project and kind of rowing in the same direction. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That multi-stakeholder environment where you have to get alignment is super important because you nailed it.
Yeah.
They typically have different motivations and they have different underwriting, especially when they're disparate owners. When you have a single owner.
You should use the mic.
Oh no, I just wanted to.
You're saying good stuff. You're saying good stuff.
I wanted to pull on the thread because it's a really great question, and I will say this. You got to figure out what the pathology is, like what is causing that you underwrote certain numbers. Why aren't you hitting those numbers? And I can tell you for multi, at least in the stabilized projects that we see, our office is actually, we're talking about the premiums that you should get in multi and office, and honestly, it starts with, I think, great retail merchandising because it's often the front door of these things. And I think it helps create a better narrative. You heard Sharon talk about the merchandising they put together. And I can't tell you how important we're seeing that all the time, because when you build multifamily, you should, according to the aggregated research, get a double-digit premium on multi and office, even flight to quality. To the rest of the market, it's massive. So if you're building mixed use, it's important to merchandise it right. It's important to get the mix right, but it's also important. We talked about the connected ecosystem and about getting alignment. The alignment thing is massive because you want the resident journey to start outside the footprint. You want the office leasing brokers to be able to. You want an office or you want to live here because. And if you've got one of them underperforming, you want to find out what can we change. Here's the shift. You might be able to make a shift in what you're doing. Even from an operating expense standpoint, there's a huge district allocation on a lot of these things. And I can tell you, I got a client in Miami who shall go nameless, big tequila drinker, you guys get but he plays with his little, mix because he has a different cap rate. He's a single owner, but he has a different cap rate on the multi than he does on the retail. And he can get triple net recoveries on the retail. He's got a hotel. He's the only partner on the thing. The only thing they own 20% the lows of this project. And he wants to push as much as he can to his partner and in deference to the rest of the asset classes, because it then plays with the financial returns and the underwriting he did. So there is, if it's defensible, there is a way to play with that a little bit, but you really want to look at operationally, where can I make shifts to make multi more successful? Office, if it's failing, where's the failure? Yeah. So identify the failure part, and then see what tools you have to play with.